And we do have an ace up our sleeve, don't we, Iftikhar?
Oh, that's a new way of using the name, but yes, we do. So what Enea has built out is what we call or is currently working on, is what we call the API composition engine, and this is, as you see, we it's not a gateway for us. It's a composition engine. Why do we call it a composition engine? Because you actually need to compose the API, you actually need to create it, underlying business logic, connect that business logic to operational aspects such as scaling and things that I mentioned. You need to make sure that the API, when exposed, has a proper hygiene for life cycle, so version controlling of that API, the ability to make sure that that API has security covered. And it's very important to think security right off is that the API, any kind of enterprise facing, is the point where the operator will be exposing their internal operation capability to the external world. This is not normally, and this doesn't happen normally because operators have very close networks. They're highly secure, and that is important because they are critical infrastructure. But the APIs now basically start, diluting that line. So one of the things is that once these APIs are exposed, there comes with a significant concern on how will they be exposed securely, so that there is no risk. So you get exposed to things like simple things like DDoS attacks. How will those be catered to? So that is one aspect to cover. More importantly is the ability to build business logic. So just when you said in the last slide, the ability to focus on core use cases, you don't want and we also earlier said that operators must be able to build these use cases very quickly. They must be able to build them quickly, test them out, validate in the market, and drop them. So they don't want, we don't want the operators spending a lot of time and investment building these use cases, and then trying to figure out, well, where they were success or did not hit the mark. So that development capability, so things like workflow designs or rule engines and things, these are capabilities that you need. So these are developer support tools, let's call them. And this is capability that either internally the operator's own development functions may use, or the development may outsource this to smaller boutique companies to do it, or they may go back to the principal middleware vendors and say, well, build me these use cases. But it's rather flexible. They have a lot of choices on how they would be able to do it. Now, under the framework, what in the box, what you need is a high degree of ability to connect things. So as I mentioned, could become, you may be integrating multiple silos, which means you need to take information from one domain, another domain, mix them in. And like for one example that when we started these discussions, there was a very specific focus on 5G. So the idea was, well, we have a RESTful infrastructure. The whole ecosystem is REST based. So we just have REST APIs going from network functions and up into the exposure. But then the more mature operators started saying, well, our user base is actually still distributed. We have some users sitting in 5G, we have other users sitting in 4G. So we would require an exposure layer that is able to extract information from 5G systems, 4G systems. And why is this different? Because 5G would use REST, 4G would use diameter if it's HSS. Maybe you even have something going back to 3G and 2G, so you'd have map. So you want this exposure layer to be able to cater to, not have patchy solutions for each domain and then try to integrate them. That just increases the TCO. So that is how we have thought about the composition engine as we are putting it together.